Hi everyone, it's my third edition of Fashionopolis Instagram Live. Welcome. I hope you all are signing on for our special Friday night edition with Iris Van Herpen. And we will have her shortly. So just settle on in. I'm going to dial her up now. Oh, it's not finding it. Let's see. There we are. Let's see if we have Iris coming on. I hope you all have had a good Friday. We're just waiting for Iris to join. Thanks so much for signing on. It's so good to see all you popping up on the screen. Oh, it didn't work. We'll try again. There she is.
Hi, Dana.
Hello, how are you? It's so good to see you.
Yeah, lovely to see you.
Where are you?
Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam. Are you at home or are you in the studio?
I'm in the studio now, but working both from home and studio, a little bit from both.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't hear you too well. Can you get a little closer to the microphone?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Can everyone hear her okay? People put up little comments so we can see them. Great. Well, how are you all doing there with your quarantine? When did you start the quarantine? Was it the same time as in France?
Yeah, pretty much. I have been in Amsterdam for the last 2 months. And,
2 months.
Yeah. The last time I traveled was to Paris, actually, just before the whole pandemic happened, and since then I've been here, and it's a really strange. Being able to create together. It's tough times, but yeah, for the industry, it's also a time to reevaluate where we are going and
Right.
what our goals need to be, and I think it's a really interesting time for me as well in that sense, because we've been talking about that a lot early on, because that's a big focus on you as well, like where does fashion need to go to, and how can we change the way we do our shows and the way we create clothes. And I feel this topic is more than ever on everybody's mind, and yeah, that is really important. And
it is very important.
I'm also spending more time on that than ever. Yeah.
Now, when did you close the studio?
Quite some weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
Basically, no, a few weeks ago. I to be honest, I lost time a bit
I
because
know, right?
everything
Every day
seems,
flows into the
oh,
next. We've lost track of time.
yeah, I don't even know really when it's weekend or week. My whole rhythm is gone. But it's a few weeks ago that we closed the atelier. People are working from home, and uh, yeah, basically it was when the Dutch government said it. Yeah, it was the advice to stay at home as much as possible.
Right. I
It's
can
still
still
the
hardly hear
case
you.
now.
Is there any way to make the microphone a little better? Or maybe that just getting a
Maybe
little
I
closer
hold
will
the
work.
microphone.
That should do
Is
it.
this
Yeah.
better?
That's
Okay.
better. Good, good. And so, how is it, how, I saw that you're working on this very cool thing called immersive virtual reality, that
Yeah.
you're gonna do a show that's a virtual reality show?
Yeah, I mean, the sad news is that the Paris show is cancelled in July. The haute couture. So, and actually, we've been working on this for a longer period of time. Is that we really want to bring this magic moment of the runway show in Paris that is only now for a few lucky people into a wider audience for people to experience that same magic, but then at home. So it becomes more communal. And a really good tool for that is the virtual reality. But we want to create a very special experience. And throughout the years, we noticed it's not very easy to capture the delicacy, the transparency, the reflection, the layering, everything that is in my work, basically, into this digital realm. But the technology is really evolving, and this is actually really a good moment in time where we are just on the edge of where it's possible to capture the complexity of the work into a three-dimensional virtual experience, basically for everybody. And
Right.
that makes me really happy to think that even more people can experience the three-dimensionality and the movement of the work, because that's such a focus point. And most people now still see it on a two-dimensional screen, and my work is so much about three-dimensionality, and that emotion is really experienced only, I think, when it's all around you. And I think we'll be able to get that to people soon. Yeah.
Well, I think also, I liked how you said it's more
Yeah.
communal, because fashion
Yeah.
shows now, they're for what, 500, 600 people maximum. I think yours have even less than that, like 300 or 400, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very limited, and but yet fashion should be for everyone. So I feel like this is a very democratic thing that you're doing. It's really
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely. No, it feels like that as well. And the closer I can bring the work to people, the more it will give me in the end as well. And I still feel limited in a way by this two-dimensional screen. We put so much effort in the three-dimensionality and the emotion of a garment. A lot of it is still lost through our phones or our laptops, and I'm actually really excited by the future possibilities that we are diving into now. Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I think that the whole idea of fashion shows is going to change. Were you working
Yeah.
with McQueen when he was doing the live stream one? Were you with the intern then?
No, I was a little later,
A little
unfortunately.
later.
I would have loved to see that in real life. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And he did that, what, 12 years ago, I think, right? It's been a long time that he had that idea to do it. And now,
Absolutely.
because Fashion Week must be canceled, everyone is
Yeah.
trying to think of new ways, and there it is.
Yeah. I mean, I still hope that both universes can live together. I don't think a virtual reality experience will be the same as a physical
No.
experience of wearing a garment or touching it. So I really hope and I think so, we'll still be able to do shows at different locations at certain moments. But I really believe in the duality of the virtual and the physical. And the virtual experience can really bring a really special experience to basically everybody who wants to see it.
Yeah.
But in the end, wearing a garment is the ultimate dream, and I still want to give people that experience at the same time. Yeah.
Completely, completely.
Yeah.
I actually met with some people who are doing virtual reality fashion for gaming and things like that, and they're from Amsterdam, I believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies out there, and there's a lot of different possibilities. I think the big challenge for us is really to get into the highest quality of capturing the garments. Because even if you look at the game industry, great things are happening, but if you look at the garments, often it still doesn't look real. And my challenge here is really to have the same beauty as when I have it here in my studio to people at home. And
Right.
that is really cutting edge in terms of where the capturing is at this moment. So yeah, just inspiring the tech community and the tech companies to go a little bit further than what they're doing.
Exactly. Now,
Yeah.
in your virtual reality show, will you be showing clothes that you're going to make,
Yeah,
or will they be
absolutely.
virtual clothes?
No, I really believe in the beauty of the physical craftsmanship of the atelier, and we are really pushing boundaries in the real world, and we still are making these pieces for people to wear.
Right.
So I think the virtual reality is a beautiful expansion of our universe. I don't want the virtual to take over and to lose the craftsmanship within the atelier, because that's where my heart is, basically. Yeah.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Now, what are you wearing today?
Nothing too special.
Have you been
I,
dressing during the quarantine, or have you been staying in your pajamas?
in between. I haven't been dressing up major because I'm not really going anywhere. And
Right.
I have a little dog of 11 weeks old who likes to chew on basically everything. So I'm keeping calm on my most beautiful garments. I will save them for a moment where things are a little bit more alive again, and I can go and share magic moments again with people. Yeah.
Yeah. In your honor, I wore the most 3D thing I have, which is an Issey Miyake shirt that I picked
Nice.
up when I was in Japan and visiting Issey Miyake's
Lovely.
factory, and saw
I
how they
love
made
his
this sort
work.
of cool waffling shirt.
Nice.
So I thought, well, that's the most high-tech thing I have in the country. I don't know why it's in my country. You know, we escaped the city, right? I actually came here
Yeah.
on holiday for a break
Oh
for a
wow,
week,
that's
and it
good
looks like now I'm
timing.
going to be here for a couple months.
That is pretty lucky to be outside
It's
of the
pretty
city.
lucky.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't, but I happen to have one cool thing that wasn't like a t-shirt
Yeah.
or a pullover, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Limited, but
so
nice.
I could have a little fashion moment. I have one fashion thing here.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
so do you think that this period of slowing down is going to affect the way we shop or the way
Yeah.
we look at clothes and wear clothes?
I really believe so. I mean, these conversations have been going on for a long time in fashion now, and companies are more and more seriously changing their system. But a big change is really hard when you're not doing it all together. And this is really a moment where people are all together re-evaluating the system. And that is so rare. That hasn't happened before. And I really sense that things are changing. I mean, not
Yeah.
overnight. It will take time. And the, um, the, the fast fashion has to slow down. But I think actually couture is a really beautiful example. It's an older system, but it's in principle a lot more simple than the ready to wear. And I think it's possible to find a system that lives in between, and that is less focused on pre-producing garments, but more on producing on demand. And
On demand, right.
yeah,
That's what you do, isn't it? Pretty much.
yeah, couture is very simple in the sense that you only create when a garment is ordered. So you create on demand. So there's no pre-production, there's no waste, and I think that's a really beautiful way of creating, and I think technology really will help to fill up the gap between haute couture and ready to wear.
Yeah, I do too. I do
Yeah.
too. Do you think this is going to, will sustainable fashion and slow fashion and things like this, do you think they're going to get a boost from this? It's going to be hard to be an entrepreneur. I mean, you're an entrepreneur. Will they be able to get a boost, or will they make it through and be able to carry on?
Yeah, I think for companies in fashion, it's more than ever important now to start investing in sustainability more and more, because that's what people want as well. People want more transparency, and they only want to buy something that comes from a good place. And everybody is understanding that more and more. And actually, you are a really good example of one of the people out there that communicates this new language of thinking about fashion so prominently, and more people are doing that. And all the conversations that I'm hearing and that I'm involved in are actually really positive, and actually are really concrete in where people want to go. It's still a search on how to do it, but everybody has the same will. I really feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And how are you going to carry on? Because your company's small. You have what, about 15, 16 people who work for you?
Yeah,
Maybe a bit more?
Yeah, it depends on the whether we are
On the
just
time of
before
year?
the collection or after, but between 15 and 20. Yeah.
Right.
So
And you're
it's
able to carry on okay? You're not going to have to shut down or fire everyone?
No, I mean the good thing again of already being slow is that we haven't produced a big collection that now cannot go anywhere. We have our clients that we work for, and we can do that in our own time and speed, which we are actually very lucky for. Everything is a lot slower now because people are working from home, so some things can proceed. A lot of firework actually can be done quite normally. But obviously other things are slowed down, and a lot of companies that we work with are also slower. So our clients have to be more patient, but luckily they are. So they understand the situation, and we just carry on in a slow speed, and yeah, that actually works quite okay. So
I know that this time of year you're often busy doing something for somebody at the Cannes Film Festival, for example. But since there's no Cannes Film Festival, there are no red carpets.
There's no red carpets, and also the Met Gala. We were already.
And the Met Gala. That keeps you busy.
Yeah, that's postponed, which is really sad. But I mean, there's much more things going on that we should be focusing on now. So it's okay. It will happen someday again. And,
exactly. Well, everything's been postponed to the same time, so we're going to have to like clone ourselves to be able to get to everything that we need to go to. All the things we do in May and June and July, we're all going to have to do in September.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're going to have to save our energy.
Exactly. Yeah. So how are you spending, besides working and creating your virtual reality collection and show and everything, how are you spending some of this extra free time that we're not spending in train stations and in airports and you know, going here and going there? Are you reading? You're always reading new books that are very cool. What are you reading now?
Well, interestingly enough, I don't really have more free time than normal.
It's funny how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, I would expect so, but I'm also we've spoken about this a lot, but a section in the atelier is absolutely dedicated to sustainability. And I actually felt this moment in time creates more space to even focus on that more.
Oh, you just moved. I can't hear you. What?
Wait, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Now, a part of the atelier is dedicated to research and develop more sustainable materials and techniques. And I felt that at this moment in time, there's actually even more time and space to work on that, because we have a little bit more time for the collection. So we are reaching out more and more to other companies that are also focused on that. So more than ever, we are focusing on collaboration and sustainability, and there's so much to do there.
There's so much to do there. I mean, I'm trying to
I
make as
almost
much
feel
noise as I
morbid.
can.
Yeah. So sort of restructuring everything we do actually takes a lot of time, and strangely enough, I don't really have more free time than normal.
But what are you reading? Because you're always reading some cool book that I go, oh, I think I have to get that.
Well, actually, I'm still reading your book.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I'm halfway, and I love it.
So you haven't gotten to the part about you yet?
No, I'm, and I also didn't skip to the end. I'm doing it very neatly. So I'm into your book, and I actually want to finish that, as this is the moment for me to also focus on my industry even more zoomed out, I would say. It's a time it's a time for philosophy and the bigger questions in life, I would say. And I think your book really really invites you to think more globally, and it's a good book for this moment. Yeah.
Well, I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So what sort of advice would you give to sustainable fashion entrepreneurs who are just starting out or trying to carry on? Like, what have you learned that you want to pass on?
Collaboration.
Collaboration. I know you love collaboration.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, fashion as an industry has grown into a big bubble. And we can learn so much from scientists, biologists, architects, designers, artists. There's so much knowledge out there that can be implemented into fashion that now is sort of lost in translation. And we need conversations and collaborations with other disciplines to learn and to develop our industry into the future. And the only way we can get there is through collaboration. Don't be scared. Even if you think, oh, this industry is so far away from what I know or what I think I can use, you will be surprised when you start collaborating with people and companies in how they influence your way of thinking and how they can open up new paths, new ways of thinking, I would say. I really believe that what I've created as an atelier and the way I think about fashion has been shaped by other disciplines and have been shaped by all the people I've been collaborating with and that I've been talking with. And these conversations and these collaborations are so important. They are not like side projects to me. They really shape.
No, I've always seen how they feed what you're doing, and they open your eyes and your imagination. Like when you worked with the American sculptor, what was his name?
Anthony Howe.
Anthony Howe.
Exactly.
I loved that collection. I loved the piece that he had at the end, and I could see how you two there was a conversation.
Exactly. Yeah, and also the craftsmanship that is built up with someone like Anthony, who has worked for 30 years on fine-tuning the craftsmanship behind motion. And I just learned so much from him, and it made me look at my own work in a different light. And that doesn't happen all the time. So when it happens, you have to be very thankful, and collaborations really can make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we have to be very thankful for this period, too, that we're in right now. It's a terrible time, and people are suffering. People are suffering, and the health people are working so hard.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's in the hospital in Marseille, and she reported back to us how the doctors and the nurses are just working so hard. But it's also a luxury in a way to have the world stop and to have time to reflect and to think. And if we're not struck by the disease, to be very thankful, I think.
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
and have the time to really have a thought about being thankful.
Yeah, it's really.
So what will you do this evening when we're finished?
I'm actually working on my own book.
That's right, you are, for your next show, right?
Well, it's not for my next show. Well, also, but that
Your exhibition, I mean.
Yeah, the exhibition book I'm not really working on at the moment, but I'm working on my big book that shows an overview of all the work we've done for the past 12 years.
Even more so than the one from the Atlanta show.
Yeah, and it's such a big project, and it's
such a big project.
It's like giving birth, and it's a very big baby. And I really want to finish it. This is also, again, the perfect time to finish up and to make final decisions and not to doubt too much, because I'm really good in doubting and changing things and perfectionizing it. And I'm in the last I would say the last weeks of finishing up that book, and I can't wait to share it with everyone, because I think it's be a very special one. Yeah.
Fantastic. When will it be out, do you think? In about a year?
I think sooner.
Sooner.
Yeah. We are now in April. Yeah. I would say the end of this year or the very beginning of next year. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. In time for the next big show in January. Yeah, exactly. If we get Fashion Week back.
Yeah. I mean, the world won't stop forever. We will find ways of, traveling safely. I think feel that Fashion Week will come back. I just think we won't have as many fashion shows as we had before, which is a good thing. And I really hope people will travel less. And keep on doing that, give nature some space, and find a balance and start collaborating with our planet more and more.
And start collaborating with our planet more and more. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this. This has been great, and it's been wonderful to see you.
Lovely to see you.
We'll have to chat like this more often, since I'm not going to be able to jump on the train to Amsterdam anytime soon.
Let's do that more often. I'd love
and have a lovely holiday.